Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. Today we're joined by Ewa Kulakowska, a talented senior Java software developer with more than 5 years of IT experience. Apart from her daily software development tasks, she is a Java mentor at a programming school. In addition, she proactively promotes many initiatives supporting children's and adults' growth in technical domains. And in her spare time, Eva enjoys cooking, running, lifting weights, and learning foreign languages. And she absolutely loves dogs, as she's the owner of one. Welcome to the show, Eva.
Thanks, Beata, for having me, and thanks for connecting.
Yeah, our first connection was actually because I saw your post on Tech Leaders program. We are both mentors on this program, so that's how we've met. And I decided to approach you and ask about some things that were interesting to me, especially about the post that you wrote on LinkedIn last year, I think. Yeah, it was
I
last
think
year.
it was a year ago, yeah.
So that post about looking for a friend in a tech world and looking for a mentee was really inspiring, and I was encouraged to approach you and ask do you really feel lonely in IT world? And that's how our conversation and our relationship started. And right now we are here recording the podcast, and I'm really, really happy to have you here, Eva.
Thanks so much. Yeah, and coming back to that post you mentioned, my idea was to encourage as many people as possible, and so that I came up with this idea, and it, I think, worked pretty well. However, I know that this message might have been a little bit misleading, because in fact, I don't feel lonely at work. Honestly, I have so much fun, and when I'm at work, I don't look at my coworkers if they're female or male. I'm just here, as part of the team, and I treat them and myself as well as professionals, specialists, right?
I just wanted to say that, my first impression after reading this post was totally different than what when I've met you. Yeah, it was totally different image, because first I was thinking oh my God, maybe she feels really lonely, lonesome, and is I don't know. I had a stereotype in my head, me as a woman, that you're that you're maybe a shy girl, and here I saw powerful and who has her mind and has a strong opinions, and I love the energy and decided let's do it, let's do a podcast about IT world.
Yeah, actually, there was a sad emoticon so in this post at the beginning, so you could have felt that way about me. But I'm quite familiar with working in a male dominated environment. Actually, what's interesting, even my name is kind of related with that. My name is Eva, and I was the first girl across my six male cousins. So I've been around men since child, and during studies, at work, because we'll talk a little bit about my background, and
Maybe we can move to that topic. So Eva, could you start telling us about your journey in tech industry? What inspired you to become a Java developer?
So my story is quite complicated. It's not standard story of Java developer, because actually studied aerospace engineering, and at the beginning I was actually working in this domain. However, the most pivotal part in my journey was participation in a leadership program at G Aviation, and that's where actually that was my dream job back then, in aerospace industry. And what's interesting, this dream job brought me here to the IT world, because the story, simply saying, is I had an opportunity to take rotation assignments across the company, and I had a chance to work as a data scientist for a while. And once I tried it, I just knew there's no coming back to my previous aerospace engineering role. I just wanted to try something more like pure programming, and I was fortunate enough to have had that chance as well. And when there was like the end of this program and I had to make my offboarding decision, believe me, it was very difficult to make, and I didn't know what to choose. But eventually, I'm here as Java developer. I'm happy where I am, but deep down in my heart, there's still some data science.
Yeah, it happens sometimes, yeah, that we are dreaming about something, or where when we are, for example, young and don't know what to do, we are, studying some subject that seems interesting or is
Yeah.
like, suggested by our parents or our colleagues. We don't know what to do, and then there is always like opportunity to change. I think from your story, we can learn one thing, that there is always like opportunity to change, or even to come back to what we liked doing in the past, but maybe we just have a new way, have new dreams, have new journey, and that's also okay. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And throughout my whole life, I've always tried to do things that interest me. 'Cause I'm total geek. I love technology. I love science, and when I feel love to some domain, I just go for it, right? And I have lot of other ideas of myself. Even some time ago, I wanted to study architecture or English language and many other non-related things. So I'm also inspired by people who tend to change their direction in older age. As we discussed earlier, we are both mentors at Tech Leaders Program, and I remember last year when I got several applications from women at their 40s and 50s that wanted to uh, try programming, which is very inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I'm going to record one of my episodes with a woman who changed to IT career in the age of 45. So that will be, I
That's
think,
nice.
inspiring
Yeah.
story. Yeah, and encouraging that, in every age, in every stage of our career, we can try something new. Yeah, and
I mean, as long as it gives us fun, it's a good choice, and yeah, it's worth considering.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Totally agree. Like there is so many opportunities and so many choices everywhere, but you just, I think, need to like open for that and see it. And at the end, the hardest decision is to choose something you have to
Yeah,
focus
exactly.
on for a longer time. Yeah. Like coming back to the topic
Yeah.
of being
Okay.
a Java developer,
Yeah.
do you think like there are any core skills that are essential for a senior for a developer? How these skills like contribute to your career progression? What do you think
Yeah,
about that?
definitely. I think the first one is patience, because even for me, even though I had engineering background and I had some analytical skills, even for me, transition to a Java developer role was a very hard thing to do. Because programming is not only the language itself, but the whole ecosystem, lots of uh, various tools that you have to master to work within a project. And patience here is very critical, because many people, including me, must deal with lots of frustration at the beginning when nothing works. And these problems are not that trivial. So that would be the first one. And the second one would be definitely willingness to learn. Because in our domain, it's like normal that there's continuous progress of technologies. There are new tools introduced, new versions of dependencies and stuff like that, and we need to continuously learn to not to have outdated skills. Simply saying.
Yeah, I wanted to add that definitely like willingness to learn is important. And sometimes there's like stereotype across
Hmm.
that IT is actually a domain where you enter that, you will earn a lot of money and you don't just, have to program and do nothing more. Yeah. And
Oh
the
no.
truth is behind it that you just mentioned, this is continuous development, continuous learning, and it never stops because the technologies
Yes.
are like, they are developing
Yeah.
so fast.
Exactly. I mean, for me, it's not a problem because I'm kind of addicted to learning myself, and I've always been. I just find each day an opportunity to be a better version of myself, and I do this using learning practices. But if certain person likes like stability, right, doesn't want to spend so much time on learning, then maybe he or she should consider some other path.
When I think about people that I was working with or I know from IT world, these are definitely people who love learning and they are changing, experimenting, and in a process of constant discovery, I would say. I mean, discovery is more like product management term,
Yeah.
but I would call it, constant discovery, constant experimentation of the new technologies, of the new languages, of the new concepts, that are coming. So
Yeah, and even apart from work, the regular work, look at us today. What are we doing, right?
I know, and sometimes like it's difficult to stop. I mean, the more you're doing,
Yeah.
the easier the things are becoming. So you
Yes,
are looking
yes,
for new challenges, and it's like, I don't know.
exactly.
I feel like I still have this appetite for learning, for life, for
Hmm.
everything, to try it. So, for example, this podcast is kind of um, my playground for
Hmm.
experimenting, for developing, because by these conversations with people from different domains, from different areas of IT, um, it's like you have the access to so many experiences, and you can like
Hmm.
take from that just one
Yeah,
thing sometimes, which inspires you to dig more and more and more and more. So that's amazing.
yeah,
That's like a journey. That's like traveling a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah. And I have similar feeling when I think of people who I had a chance to work with or who mentored me. I very often have like one phrase or one thought in my head that I, have correlation with that person, right?
Yeah, and talking about like one sentences or one like thoughts, I think we can move to a topic of kind of challenges in technology or
Hmm.
more stereotypes and biases in technology industry. Have you encountered any stereotypes and biases in your career?
Of course, there's the stereotype related to women that I don't know that they can't code or they're not good at analytical skills. However, personally, I don't pay that much attention to it. Um, because I mean I'm quite confident with my skills, and even if I'm not good at something, then that's normal. Everyone started somewhere, right? So I feel no difference between men and women, and I think that may be connected with my background. My mom is math teacher, so since always it's been normal for me that a woman can be related with science, with technology, and that's the mindset I have since I remember. And it's a good thing because this stereotype is not harmful for me myself, so it's I don't think of it on a daily basis at all. I just do my work, do my stuff. But I have a feeling that for some women that might have raised in different, background, that might have been harmful because some of them may be less confident and they may not believe in their skills, so that such phrases may affect them.
I can I can relate to that because I like during last year I experimented a lot and like was challenging the things that I'm thinking, the my
Hmm.
beliefs, yeah, because I think that you believe something, then you create a kind of constraint, I would say, for yourself. Because if you
Hmm.
think about yourself as I can't drive, then or I can't park a car, then you will never do that. I mean, you can have that. I don't know if it's actually a good example, but what I want to say is that beliefs are determining your behaviors.
Hmm.
So if you believe in some kind of stereotypes that, for example, women cannot code, you will never even start learning to code, yeah? Or women cannot invest. You will not even start investing or taking
Yeah.
care of your money, yeah? So that's important to be aware of stereotypes that we all have, even if our minds, yeah? Especially in our minds, and that these beliefs and stereotypes are actually taking a lot from us, taking the chance to become what we really want to become. Yeah, maybe we want to be a senior Java developer. Yeah, but we just take this from ourselves because we believe that we can't do this from the start.
Yeah, that's true. Everything is about the mindset we have.
Yeah, and that's in the same time it's encouraging because you can work on your mindset and you can work on your approach, and on the other hand, people can think like, oh yeah, like easily said, yeah, it's all about mindset, but you have this and this. um, but it's not like that. I mean, we all have to work for the things that we want to achieve. Yeah, if
Yes,
I would
yes.
think about myself that I cannot do this podcast, or I'm not a podcaster, or I don't know, I can't speak English very well, so I will not. I'm not a native, so I cannot do a podcast in English.
Yeah. And you sound
Well,
totally like a native for me. For my non-native ear, right?
well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's very nice and yeah, encouraging. So yeah, I'm just proving to myself and to others that you can do whatever you want. Yeah, I
Of
mean,
course.
and other stereotypes or biases in mind that you experienced or you just heard about and think that they are worth mentioning?
I think we kind of touched on the subject of people who program and don't like the exposure to the business communication.
That's also kind of important one, that programmers or developers, they don't like communication. Yeah,
Yes.
they would basically close themselves in a
Code. Yeah.
cave.
In the cave, exactly.
And that's all. Yeah, and
Yeah, and it may be true for some of individuals, right? Um, but me personally, I like this exposure myself, and because it makes my work more diverse. And in general, I love communicating, speaking with people, so that's not a problem for me. However, I know there are people who just simply don't like it, and that's also fine. I think they can also find place to work at some companies. So yeah, if they succeed, that's totally fine.
yeah, definitely. I'm also thinking about the stereotype, like kind of like this victim syndrome more than
Hmm.
stereotype. It's like a victim syndrome that women like to put themselves into. Yeah, that, oh, I can't do this, or oh my God, this is um, like, I have so many constraints, or there is like, this
Hmm.
world in tech is very male dominated, so I cannot succeed. And yeah, it definitely exists. It's not something we should be ashamed of, but I think it would be good to be aware of this victim syndrome that we are having, because we can partially take the chances from ourselves just by believing that we are a victims and just do nothing about it, like
Yeah.
wait for a survivor, like I don't know, a prince charming, I call it, like, okay, a manager will, like, promote us, or will, like, support us, and until we, like, you know get the chance from someone, we cannot step up and actually ask for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in general, it's okay to be vulnerable sometimes. However, it's not good to be like that all the time, and not try to change that, right? I'm okay with trying to give some hints to that person how to, I don't know, manage certain situations. But as long as this person eventually wants to get rid of the syndrome, right? Because I'm not a fan at all of that behavior at work. I mean, mm, I myself tend to, put aside the emotions and do my work, be professional, right? I find myself more like concrete, and I have strong opinions on things. I'm not afraid of talking about stuff, and I feel like women should be like that, right? To be treated equally, right? We talk about this equality, and we should try to go towards this direction as well.
Yeah, and expose ourselves more. I know it's
Yeah.
difficult, but I think we should, go out from our private cave and
Hmm.
just expose ourselves a bit, because yeah, on the way we can experience very interesting, very interesting things, very interesting opportunities can appear if we just let ourselves go out and check a little bit what's going on outside our, I don't want to call it like comfort zone, but yeah, let's call
Yeah,
it the
I just
comfort
wanted to use the
zone.
term. I think it's good. Yeah, and nothing brings as much of self development as living this comfort zone. So I totally agree. And I think the
Yeah.
more, for example, we are stressed about performing in front of people, like, or I don't know, leading the meetings. So the recipe for that is exposure to such situations, to be heartened for that. And I observed myself that it works. Yeah, of course, I had in the past some situations when I don't know, it was my these were my first positions. And I might have been a little bit stressed about presenting in front of some professionals, very with high experience. But with time, after practice, I'm totally okay with presenting in front of whomever they bring. Yeah.
But it comes with practice, as you said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
the
everything.
confidence. Yeah, the confidence comes with practice. So unless you start doing something, do it for a few times, expose yourself, and also make mistakes. Because let's be
Yes, of course.
honest, it's
Yes,
a natural.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a natural learning process
Of
to
course.
to actually make mistakes. Yeah.
And
So
people are often very scared of, I don't know, speaking foreign languages. I don't know, they avoid doing it, saying they can't speak, they make errors. Of course, I think we during this podcast we're not native speakers, and I'm 100% sure each of us would make at least one mistake, right? And that's okay.
yeah,
The aim is to
that's
communicate. That's the goal. And that's your tool, right? And not just focusing on making certain mistakes on this journey.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree that we we are aware that we're actually making mistakes, but we just don't let that thing stop us from recording that. Yeah, I know that probably, yeah, I'll make like 100 of mistakes during this podcast, but who cares? Yeah.
Also at work, I find it very powerful. I find it very powerful to admit to your mistakes, to say, okay, in front of the team, okay, I made this mistake. We need to solve it. I have lesson learned. That's fine. Fine.
That's important skill to have courage to admit to mistakes, and I think you need to be really confident to actually take responsibility, and I'm not talking about taking a blame, but taking responsibility for the mistakes that we have done. And yeah, we all make mistakes, so that's
To my
okay.
mind,
Yeah.
this behavior is like totally normal, and I have no problem of admitting that I did something wrong. I may have lots of experience, but even silly issues, silly mistakes happen. We're just humans.
Yeah, talking about mistakes, I think there is another mistake in seeing women, I would say, or stereotype, which is women are very emotional, and at work you have to be careful because you can make them cry easily. So you need to keep the distance, yeah?
That's interesting. Hmm. At work, I try, to put aside my emotions. Of course, there may be some more emotional situations, so I may be, of course, more emotional than usual, but I think I won't cross some, line. I would say, if it comes to my personal life, I think I'm a totally different person. I'm more vulnerable, more emotional, right? And me at work and me personally, not the same person, definitely.
That's interesting. I would like to have that skill,
What
to be
skill?
honest, because
Uh huh.
the skill of being different at work, and like putting
Okay.
like a line between the work and the private life, because to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be very similar at work and
Okay.
in yeah, I tend to be very similar. I'm quite, I don't want to use the word emotional, but quite high energy, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about
Okay.
high energy. So for example, in private life and in professional life, I'm looking for challenges and problems to solve all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And it doesn't change. It just, it just blending, I would say. And I'm not sure
Okay.
if it's completely healthy, but well, that's my setup, at least for now. Yeah, it is like
No,
that.
no
I'm
one
not
said
sure.
my position is better, you know, and it's not like, for example, I tried to, become a different version of myself. No, it's just natural for me that.
That's interesting because it's different. It's not like judging it's better or worse. It's just different approach, yeah?
Yes.
And that's I think important to mention that even if we're like acting differently, or have a kind of different approach to work and life blend or balance,
Yeah.
um yeah, we still can talk about it, and that's encouraging, actually. So do you have any strategies to like overcome the challenges, like stereotypes or biases that we just mentioned, and not letting them define you at work? And
In general, no, because I don't tend to think about them on daily basis at all. Maybe if someone comes to me, for example, I have a mentee. If I have a theoretical mentee and she has some problems related to, I don't know, um, how to say it, feeling as if he's dealing with some behaviors related to these stereotypes, then I may think of strategies how to deal with that, right? But myself, no, it's just natural for me how I work. Of course, I have like strategies to achieve my goals. Let's say I think of my dream goals. I note them down. I try to think of potential steps I should take to achieve them. Or maybe I think of people that inspire me. What was their background? So these kind of strategies, of course, yeah. And I'm a huge fan of to-do lists. So yeah, I like being organized this way. But dealing with these stereotypes, no, I don't think of them at all.
okay, but I think that's also one of the strategies, to not think about them at all,
Yeah.
like being aware of them but not thinking
Yes.
too much of them.
I think of them, but in a way that they could negatively impact other people, and what can I do to prevent this from happening. So in this sense, yes. And so that
Okay.
I don't know, joined various initiatives to support women in tech and stuff like that. Or in general, I don't know, I work at boot camp and I support my students of both genders.
And I think that's kind of how we can contribute to dealing with these stereotypes and biases by actually engaging into initiatives like, for example, Tech
Yeah.
Leaders Program. Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
that is supposed to like support women in IT, like to get to IT or to get promotion
Mhm.
in their industry, in their work, and yeah, I think that's kind of a good, how to say that, a good way of minimizing the stereotypes and biases
Yes.
impact on the future generations.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And there are various of initiatives like that. And the sky is the limit, actually. Not only for
Yeah.
women, but also for children. And
Moving to a little bit different topic, which
Mhm.
is like collaboration with
Yeah.
project and product teams. What does collaboration with product or project teams look like in your role?
So in my team, we work in agile environment. We both implement Kanban and Scrum because we deal with both development of new functionalities and also support. So we combine these two approaches. And we work in our Polish team. We have, these regular meetings, Scrum meetings, that we can sync with each other. And I'm fortunate enough to have a really great team with great individuals. We support each other, we help each other, and it's worth saying. I mean, these are mostly or only men, right? I only work with men right now, and they are always supportive for me, and I really appreciate it. What's more, we also work with teams located abroad in US and Spain, so we also catch up with each other, and sometimes we need to collaborate on common functionalities. The key to everything, the whole, this working setup is communication, and it doesn't matter what roles we're talking about. This communication is also always important, right?
It's always important, and I think from my experience working with the teams from different cultures, different backgrounds, different countries, it's also important to kind of adjust this communication or be aware of the cultural differences. Yeah.
That's so true. And even if we think that, let's say, two cultures are very similar, in fact there are so many differences that we may not be even aware of.
Yeah. There's an excellent book, The Culture Map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll link it to the episode about the cultural differences.
Mm-hmm.
And some time ago, I was on the workshop organized by Paulina Kozub-Chwastek that I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to record an episode too
Okay,
about
cool.
cultural differences. So yeah, she did a great job by introducing us to the cultural differences between, for example, in like working with Indian teams. That
Mm-hmm.
was eye-opening how their how the culture and environment they are living in can impact their day to day, and
Yes.
it's definitely more easier to understand right now some challenges or some um, kind of the importance of clear and transparent communication and also
Mm-hmm.
building trust between those teams.
Yes. I remember once one situation, and I have one photo that best describes cultural differences. When I was quite a long time ago during this leadership program and training in China, we were divided into groups, and we were collaborating during the week. And once we were at the end, right, we were taking a photo together, and there was a message. Okay, let's show hearts by our hands. And when we took the photo and looked into it, everyone was doing something different. For example, I was doing, I guess, this one. Someone from this one, a girl from Malaysia was doing this one, and uh, two people were doing this one. So Yeah, it was really, really, really nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't think about it. Like this is a very just small thing, yeah, like the
Yeah,
heart, but in
like
different culture, it's like showed in a different way.
yeah,
Yeah, highly encourage people to watch this episode in like as a video, so you can see Eva showing
okay,
the hearts from different
hearts.
cultures. But about if we're in the topic of communication, I think there's also like the stereotype that we talked before about communication being challenging to developers. From your experience, how do you approach communication with the business side?
So it's good when the starting point is that as a developer, I have clear requirements. So I have a ready to go list to start with, right? However, the reality is very often these requirements either change or are incomplete, and that's totally okay. That's like the agile world we're living in, let's say. And I'm totally okay with clarifying these requirements with business, right? With having these discussions. That's okay for me. So that's natural. I think I've gained some, not knowledge, but know how. I don't know. It's familiarity, maybe, yeah, with communicating with people that way during my role as a data scientist. Because back then, I was not working in a Scrum team. It was a slightly different setup. Each of us had several projects that we're not only developing technically, but also we were project owners, let's say. So we were managing this project in collaboration with people from abroad. So yeah, I think it taught me a lot.
Yeah, definitely like working in projects full of different teams and different environments
Hmm.
then that can like develop you and just make you like push you a little bit out
Yeah.
of this comfort zone again. And and just start doing something new which
Hmm.
before was challenging or like you couldn't imagine that you actually can do that. You're in the industry for more than 5 years already. You've been working in mostly in like big companies, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, like corporations. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's worth mentioning because sometimes the senior the developers roles can differ depending on
Exactly.
whether it's corporate environment, whether it's like a startup, whether it's like a software
Yeah.
house, and there are slight differences amongst these roles. And looking back at your experience and from your perspective, how has the tech industry evolved in recent years
Hmm.
regarding technologies, methodologies you work with?
So if it comes to technologies, it's constantly progressive, right? So maybe let's not even touch that subject of technical changes. If it comes to the methodologies, uh, I don't feel like they changed drastically. So I feel like Scrum, Kanban are pretty stable, or I mean, at least from my developer's perspective. What was the most significant, I think, in recent years was COVID, which introduced, I mean, not introduced, but maybe normalized, made popular work from home, which was a pivotal change for the work model in IT, and which I really appreciate because I find it a very good way of working this way in this model because I have my happy work from home place, right? I have a dog that sleeps next to me. um, I don't waste 2 hours a day in traffic, so I really like this flexibility. Of course, contact with face-to-face contact with humans is still important, but it doesn't have to be each day as in the past.
Yeah, because contact with people is also exhausting sometimes. Yeah,
It
the
may
the
be, yeah.
older, yeah, the
The
older
older we
you
get, yeah,
yeah, the more time alone I think we need, and we like really appreciate this time where we can just sit by ourselves and just focus on what's, yeah, I want to say like what's inside our heads.
I was raised in a very small village and I didn't have many neighbors. So a lot of time I spent alone learning. So I craved contact with humans. So when I started my university and I started living at the dormitory, which was amazing for me because I was all around the people, right? I had so much fun. And I remember my first day coming to my room of one of my friends, and he was watching series on his laptop. And I was like, what is he doing? He's not, interacting with people. He's, standing still alone. And for me, it was ridiculous at that moment because every, free moment I wanted to spend with people, right? Currently, I'm on the opposite side. I like, meeting my friends, family, but I appreciate also my alone time a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I have the same. In the past, I mean, I'm still enjoying spending time with people, but I also feel exhausted after, if I plan
Yes,
too many meetings during the
yes.
day, I feel later on like my
Mhm.
energy is, I'm drained basically. Yeah. So yeah, that's how we have like, that's what we have to like balance, I think, in our day to day,
Yeah.
to not let all the meetings that we have to go through during our work to drain our energy out, and also learn how we can get this energy back, yeah, because
Mhm.
it's not easy.
We also need to learn how to relax, and that's what I'm having problem with.
Oh yeah, you too. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's actually one of my plans for 2024. Learn to relax.
But I think we have like, yeah, making a small like break for this topic of relaxing and recharging the batteries. In the past, I thought like I need to sit or lay down or just sleep, and that's how I will like recharge my batteries, or just watch like Netflix, for example. But now I need to run, I need to walk, I need to move. For example, even at work when I feel tired, I'm not sitting. I I use the standing desk and I'm just standing, and that makes me feel more powerful, but I also like have more energy. So that's a discovery I had, actually. I don't know.
Yeah. You should also try the walking pad. Do you have one? No, at home.
No, I don't.
So I highly recommend it. I have one, and it's really great when,
Oh,
especially during winter, when the weather outside is dramatic, and I personally don't feel like going outside at all. So that's when I grab my walking pad and turn it on during the meetings, and I easily can do like 5 kilometers with like no effort.
wow,
It's
that's
really nice.
amazing. Yeah, that's interesting. I actually like cold and cold exposure. It makes me
Oh,
feel
okay.
like, yeah,
Alive.
yeah, it makes me feel, yeah, in the morning especially. I, for example, need to like start a day with exercises or something to
Okay.
wake up instead of coffee. I just
Mm-hmm.
go for a walk or run or just
Okay.
on the gym. Yeah, this is a way of like regulating my emotional side also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've learned, that, for example, I need to like start a day like that, because if not, I have too much tension in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Our jobs are stressful. Yeah, you are a
Yeah.
developer, I'm product manager. We have a lot of people, a lot of requests, a lot of pressure on the deadlines. Sometimes we basically are surrounded by people that want a lot from us, yeah, and to regulate these emotions, I think my side is like, my way is just doing sport, yeah, and it works.
I love just as you said, I love running as well, and it's a moment for me to grab all of my thoughts together and
Yeah.
rethink everything. However, I hate when it's cold outside, so I don't run during winter at all. looking forward to spring.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Actually, I want to see how running in spring and in summer would like feel like, because
You
it
haven't
will be
tried it?
challenging. No, actually, I started like run, like really run. I mean, okay, it was like in summer also, but I was like doing very short distances, so
Okay.
maximum like 3 to 5 kilometers. Right now, with sometimes 15, sometimes
Even more, I
recently
saw recently. Don't
21
be
and a
that. You are
half. Yeah,
modest.
a half
Yeah.
marathon.
Congrats on
Yeah,
that. That's a lot.
yeah, thank you. That was my personal marathon. That was my personal challenge. And actually, a lot of people is like, oh, um, you need to prepare a lot. I mean, I have to admit, like, I'm an active person. Yeah, I'm exercising
Hmm.
daily on a daily basis because it's
Yeah.
easier for me to have the consistency if I do something every day
Yes.
instead
Yes.
of
I know
doing
it.
it 3 times a
Hmm.
week. That's just my setup. Yeah, and actually, I'm also like visiting physiotherapists from time to time. So he
Hmm.
told me like this half marathon actually cured my body instead of hurting that.
Okay.
Like a lot of tension just were
Hmm.
gone.
Good to
So
hear
I
that.
think that
I'm
works. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our run in April,
Yeah.
as we discussed. We're gonna
Me too.
meet in person in Warsaw.
Definitely waiting for that. And yeah, we're going to maybe not do a half marathon, but just a 5K or 10K run would
Yeah,
be nice.
sounds good.
And yeah, maybe we'll not record a video podcast, but
Yeah, maybe not.
well,
When I run, I
maybe.
don't speak with people, so get prepared with with music.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no worries.
It's
We
not
can
that
just
I
run,
don't like
next day.
having just only me and music.
I have to say. Um, okay, coming back to the
Yeah.
topic of tech industry evolution.
Hmm.
Um, what kind of emerging technologies or trends are you particularly interested in or see as impactful in the future in tech development?
Yeah, I think recently everyone talks about AI and its influence. And some people see it as something dangerous for their careers. I personally see it differently. For me, it's a good way to get rid of some manual work, some repetitiveness, right? To like boost our everyday duties and to focus on more valuable tasks that develop us.
And what tasks, for example, you think AI could take from you?
So I use AI sometimes when, for example, I encounter some issue, some error I haven't seen before, and I list my setup of project. Of course, I do not include confidential information. That's what I erase. But some information that I find may be important for the diagnosis, and I write down what's wrong, what's the error message, and I get the response with possible root causes, and that's how the process goes. So definitely this one. Sometimes it's also helpful in writing some scripts, for example, of language that I don't know that much, but I use, like JavaScript. I'm not an expert on that. I know some basics, right? So it definitely helps me with writing some scripts in JavaScript. And I remember I had one situation when we needed to do some critical stuff in our system, and it needed to be done in JavaScript, and it helped me a lot. Of course, we tested it right in lower environments before, made sure that it's good.
Yeah, that's actually interesting how we can leverage generative AI.
Yeah, and speaking of ChatGPT, one thing I want to add is that it's just a tool, and we still need to carefully review the responses because they are very often not correct. So our own expertise really matters here to validate the response.
To validate the responses, yeah, to check it and to yeah, not implement everything. And also with ChatGPT, I think we should take care of the prompt crafting skills. So
Hmm.
put as many information and train the model
Yes.
before we
Yes.
actually use it on a daily basis, for example.
Yeah, that's true.
To admit, like I use ChatGPT really heavily to help me help me create the podcast
Hmm.
and my Instagram account and
Yeah,
even on LinkedIn. Like there is like nothing to be shy about, because we should use the tools that are available to get familiar with them, because at some point they will become our reality. So why not starting now using them for daily tasks? Yeah.
they are meant to make our life easier. So as soon as we start using them, we may make our life better at some point.
Yeah, better, easier, and
Easier,
we
yeah,
will,
or
yeah, and we
convenient.
will, yeah, or convenient, exactly. And we will not
But mhm,
experience the moment that um, that that the tool will be so popular and so widely
yes,
used, and we will not know how to use it, and we will be, far behind the competition or the industry standards. Yeah.
yes. So it's very crucial to upskill oneself all the time, and not only in terms of ChatGPT, but in general in technologies that we see that are gaining popularity.
Do you think there are like any other technologies except AI that are like worth, checking out?
Nothing that particular comes to my mind, but maybe domains in general, right? When I was working as a aerospace engineer, I saw huge potential in IT, and even though I started my career in IT like 5 years ago, I had that feeling a long, long time ago earlier. I even remember when I was a student at the university, and I was giving math classes to one of my high school graduate, almost graduate, and she was before her decision what university to choose, what course to choose, and I remember saying her that she should definitely consider courses that are related to digital domains more than the engineering, the structural ones that I was currently involved in at that time involved in. Yes,
Hmm.
and that's still true in my head, and where that's where I ended up. Like some other feeling in my head is that many people currently transition to social media, right? To I don't know if we're in tech, it's good to I don't know either share knowledge or be present in social media. That's why I also I don't know started this Instagram profile, and yeah, I try to keep up, even though it's not very how to say it familiar for me to publish stuff with such frequency. I still can't get used to it, but I'm getting better each day. But yeah, that's something that I saw. It's kind of that's the future.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I also feel like I have so much and gained so much knowledge during past few years, because I had the opportunity to learn, and I just feel a kind of mission to share what I've learned to with like people who are interested in that, because maybe they are not in the same situation that I am. They cannot speak about the topics that are difficult, or they are not aware, for example, of some topics and their importance, and they don't have a space, for example, to think about it. And I have, and uh, and if I have that, I feel like in debt to others to actually share that with them, and like kind of be their voice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I also feel like a strong connection with this sharing process. Since I remember, I've loved sharing my knowledge with others, and that's what I tried to do today as well. So that's very important. It's not only helpful for others, but it's also very good for our own development. When you, I don't know, when you teach someone programming, if you're if you're a perfectionist like me, which is not always a good, how to say it, good
Trait, yeah.
trait, yeah.
Trait, yeah.
uh, Probably yes. Then you spend much more time to get prepared, and you deep dive into the topics that you would normally not, check.
I was a perfectionist in the past, and that was like really killing me. So
Yeah.
I changed to done is better than perfect and just started to do things even if I know that they are not perfect, but um I feel better by, doing the stuff and learning. And I remember in the beginning of like doing my Instagram profile and
Uh-huh.
reels, I
Yes.
I did so many mistakes with these reels, and every time I was like making a tiny mistake, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh look, this reel is imperfect. I forgot to like add captions or something like that, and like no one like cared about that. So I
Yeah.
stopped caring about that too. Yeah, it's just what it is. And right now, somehow, I don't make mistakes because I think, I created a process.
Yeah.
And right now, I just, it becomes so easy that, yeah, I can produce some contents daily because I just
Mm-hmm.
know how to do it very fast. And yeah, learning again. Yeah. If you do
Yeah.
something more often, more often, more often, then right now I have to work on quality over quantity. But I'm always like that. First, I want to work to like learn something, and
Mm-hmm.
then I can like build upon that. Yeah, to improve the quality. But yeah, the basics is
Yeah.
done is better than perfect.
Yeah. My perfectionist is definitely killing me. So.
So we're in the topic like of continuous learning and
Mm-hmm.
upskilling, and we already said that it was important in your career that
It is.
one of the traits of a good developer is a willingness to
Mm-hmm.
learn. And how do you like stay updated with the latest tech trends, and how do you like connect it with the value for the business?
There are various options, right, to develop skills, to learn from books, podcasts, to meetups, conferences. Uh, we can do many things nowadays, especially uh, with accessibility of internet. We can follow some professionals on the internet, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and these people often share their knowledge, right? We can become such people ourselves and share our knowledge so that we prepare these materials, and we learn even more during that process. So many opportunities and many methods. And I feel like when we want to change job, when we plan to go through interview process, it's a very good moment to recap material, to learn new skills, because we have dose of motivation. So yeah, I remember when I was doing recruitment processes, this moment in my life uh, taught me a lot professionally, because I was mobilized to learn a lot of stuff in a short period of time, and I had a deadline.
Yeah, and what about the kind of legacy applications, legacy code, technical debt, and yeah, kind of the need of delivering a business value, continuous learning, and then struggling with, for example, a legacy code or applications at work? How do you approach that?
Yeah, so legacy code is a reality in various projects, and it happens to many companies. And, at the end, it's the business value that matters. That's what they're paying us for, to deliver the product, new functionalities. So there's not always space, right, to redesign everything, rewrite some parts of the program. So yes, if I mainly focus on delivering the value to the business, right? However, if I see that there are some, low hanging fruits that I can easily fix, right? Then I do it. And there's this scout rule, right? Uh, leave the I forgot how it's originally stated in English, but it's about leaving the camp cleaner than you saw it. So that's what we do with the code. If we're doing a small change and we see that there's something wrong with I don't know with structure of code, or I don't know, something that we can easily fix, then we have the best opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, small improvements on the go, I would say, when you are, for example, yeah, making a small, like, yeah, when you're working on, for example, some feature, and then you see that, oh, there is something like that I could also like improve and take care of the quality of the code. I think that's a really good solution to not like maybe plan the whole maybe sprints on the technical debt and maintenance, because maybe that could be exhausting, but just just to work on a daily basis on a small bits and pieces that could be improved or could be replaced by something newer, better, more efficient.
Very often we won't get rid of the whole legacy this way. If possible, if the business accepts this kind of approach, we can also think of, redesigning some parts of the system. But, it should be done with close collaboration to business, and only if there's place and space for such actions.
Agree. But on the other hand, business doesn't see the value
Value,
in,
I know.
yeah, in taking care of the maintenance stuff or the technical debt. For them, it's like, deliver me a new feature, deliver me a new feature. I want a new feature because it will bring more money, or it will like bring more features to the users, which is not always the case. Yeah, sometimes we just need to come back to the basics and fundamentals and clean up a little bit and then start fresh. So I think that solution that you mentioned, just when you're doing some a new feature, for example, building something, just or making improvements, to come back to that technical depth and do it on the go. Yeah, because that way we are working on something valuable, hopefully valuable for the business. That's the product managers very often what they need to assess. And on the other hand, also take care of the fundamentals, basics of the technical depth. So
Yes, but there may be some situations when this technical debt grows so much, some part of the system stops working, and then there is no other choice than redesigning the approach. The goal is to make that decision of this redesign earlier, to prevent this disaster to happen. So we should always keep that in mind.
yeah, that if we don't take um, like actions before, at some point it will be too late to make a small improvements, and we will have to redesign the whole system.
Yeah, they may not be enough. Simply saying, small redesigns sometimes.
You definitely are a proactive person who is like continuously learning and upskilling. But what about support? What kind of support have been most beneficial for your growth in tech industry?
I find mentoring a very good way of being supported and starting career, or doing some impactful changes in career. And I've been fortunate enough to be mentored twice. Firstly, when I joined this Java development team, my first one, and my managers enabled me to have the official mentoring with my mentor Tomek, and he really guided me. Um, I had the possibility to learn, all the basics of programming in a very structurized way, which helped me in my further development. And I also had a chance to be mentored by the Tech Leaders program by my mentor Anya. And that time, it was related with my leadership development. So definitely, these two mentorings.
So you mentioned that you were mentored by a man and a woman. So do you see any differences between these mentoring sessions, even like not talking about gender, just generally? Could you like share how these mentorings developed you?
I think these two mentorings are really hard to compare because the first thing is that I was learning totally different stuff, right? The first one was technical, the second one was, soft skills, leadership. So at this point, it's very hard to compare. And also, these were totally different personalities. Of course, it was different. We're having a different energy between us, but each of them was really good, and it's just hard to compare, really.
Yeah, you shared that you were mentored by both men and women, but I think that you also are kind of not officially mentored, but maybe like you are developing yourself by just being a part of the team. What's your opinion on that?
Yes, that's totally true. Because we're speaking only about the official ones, but in fact, on daily basis, we learn a lot. We are surrounded by our experienced colleagues and even less experienced, and we still, by interacting, by pair programming, we support each other and can learn from each other. And since I work in male-dominated domain, this support came mostly from men, and it's a very important thing to remember, not to forget in all of these women-centered initiatives, not to forget that men support us a lot on daily basis, and I personally really appreciate it, and I really like working with men.
Yeah, it's like important to know that both men and women are supporting us in our career development. And I think, because we're a kind of minority in tech industry, it's even more important for women to support women and be aware of, for example, a queen bee syndrome, or that, yeah, I covered it with Ola Laniecka in the
Hmm.
previous episode. So if the listeners are interested on the biases and stereotypes, they can like listen to the previous episode. But also not to fight against like men and think like, oh, we can, women power and we can do it like just together. Yeah, it's just important to kind of balance that. Yeah, we can take what's
Exactly.
the best from women and from men, and we can share it with others. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't like this kind of energy of, I don't know, maybe fighting is too strong word for that, but in participating in every initiative, I still want to emphasize that at the end, what matters are skills. And for example, if I try to get the job, I want to be treated equally, right? I want my skills to be the reason for getting the job, right?
For that to be a reality, we also need, for example, like diverse panels. Yeah, because
Hmm.
you know some the biases and the stereotypes are the problem because they are not visible to us. If we, on a daily basis, we are tend to not think about it, or not to, to focus on that. Yeah, if we are, there's some people who are more like sensible for that, for
Hmm.
example, and are thinking about the biases. I never thought about a dietary restrictions until
Hmm.
I myself was experienced the
Okay.
lactose intolerance and gluten intolerance. And now, when I'm, a minority, and get
Yeah.
to the meeting, for example, and there is nothing for me to eat, I'm always prepared to have something
Okay.
with me because I need to think about it. Yeah. But it's it's like for me, for example, right now, a kind of, again, I don't want to call it a mission, but just
Uh-huh.
a small kind of, yeah, a small like mission to just make people aware that, hey, there are like, people with different dietary restrictions, and it's kind of important to also take care of them because, if we take care of people and want to like give them the best of us, we kind of expect the same from the other side. So, I think like education and kind of believing that people have the best intentions, they are just not aware, is what we can do to overcome the challenges and to also take care of ourselves. Yeah, to take care of ourselves. That's a good word, I think.
I really like your example of this nutrition stuff, because very often, as you said, people may not be aware of our needs, and we should definitely make statements in such scenarios so that they can change or be at
Yeah,
least aware of that.
yeah. Be aware, definitely, and just again, we are not getting into the victim
Yeah,
mentality, yeah,
that's
that
not
we
it. No, no,
mentioned
no.
in the beginning, because we know how to take care of each other. With example, yeah, me, I have the food with myself.
And that's taking care, speaking of our needs, right? Not like feeling, taking it to ourselves and, feeling bad about the whole world. There's something wrong, we say it.
That's how we express our needs, and also like our borders. Yeah, we need to take care of about our boundaries. Yeah, boundaries. It's a better word.
And specifying our own boundaries is a very important thing, because if we don't do this, people may cross these borders. And once they do it, it will happen next time with bigger force.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, once we allow a certain behavior to happen, then we can be sure it will appear again and again and again until end. What is like even more difficult is when you realize that this behavior is like against your boundaries or is crossing your
Hmm.
boundaries, and you start talking about it openly. This person, for example, feels attacked, or is like saying, "Oh, you've changed," or I don't know, you're now like behaving differently, and starting like to victimize you or put a blame on you. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think it's easier just to set up the boundaries in the
Yes.
beginning, and then it's just easier to maintain the relationship and to like kind of steer the relationship and make sure we can like build that on the foundations that we set and we are comfortable with.
Yes, I totally agree with setting up boundaries. However, the reaction may differ from what we initially expected. So sometimes it's also good to adjust the message to the responder. And there are various types of personalities. I've read some book called "Surrounded by Idiots." I'm not sure if you've checked this out. So
Yeah, I did.
basically, yeah. So basically, there's a model of dividing people into groups of colors, and it kind of defines schemas of their behaviors. So this kind of awareness, I think, may be helpful to deal with different types of people, especially that different from us. So understand them, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that will like conclude a little bit our conversation. Um, and if you would like, what message or key insight would you like to leave our listeners with?
Hmm. Like to summarize, if it comes to our career development, we should firstly think of who we would like to become. Of course, it's not always that obvious. So sometimes we need to try ourselves different variations. And once we feel good at certain point, because that's the most important part, to have fun and to do what we actually like, we should not stop there and always try to do something more. Or maybe that's just me, because I can't stand still. But if we really want to boost our career, I would suggest to be a little bit proactive.
A little bit proactive, you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with being proactive. Not even a little bit, be proactive. I mean, within your own boundaries and comfort, to not cross like your own boundaries too much, because if you just cross too much, you can feel like drained from the energy. But although, yeah, just learning, I think it's a experience that needs a lot of energy. So yeah, let's stay with being proactive.
I said a little bit because I wanted to adjust, my level to the level of like normal person, because I tend to take too much and it exhausts me. So you know, I just felt that the amount of initiatives I'm involving in, it may not be a good advice to everyone. Because as I
Yeah.
said, I have difficulties with relaxing, with taking some time off.
And talking about being proactive, so what are like your aspirations for the future, both personally and in your tech career?
So let's start with my career. So professionally, I have lots of ideas, a lot of them. Maybe let's focus on what I have just started. So this Instagram, professional Instagram profile. However, at the beginning, I was thinking of YouTube channel. Um, Maybe I'll develop that in the future. So stay tuned. For now, it's Instagram. Uh, and if it comes to my personal life, my plan is to have a health lifestyle, focus on sports, on healthy nutrition, spend more time with family, and travel more.
I love it. I have almost similar plans. Yeah, I mean, YouTube channel. Let's say I already started. Instagram. Yeah,
Congrats on that.
we've met there. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm amazed by how many amazing people uh, I could meet on the Instagram. I would never thought of that. I mean, I have
Yeah.
my personal Instagram, but I don't tend to speak to people that I don't know there. And switching, to the professional one, it revealed some other universe, I would say, of other professionals.
Yeah, and similar people, like with the similar kind of attitude, with similar
Yes.
hobbies, with similar behaviors, I would say. Yeah, with the
Hmm.
similar levels of energy, and that's so good to like discover this kind of new connections, relationships, personalities that make you feel you're not alone in
Hmm.
your kind of behaviors. For example, like I totally
Yeah.
love how you're also like crazy about sport and nutrition, and right now I have like, oh my god, it's not only me. So yeah,
Yeah.
um, Instagram and like generally I think tech world, IT world, and uh, like social media open a lot of possibilities to meet new
Hmm.
people um, and meet kind of our um, people we would never meet. In a real life, we would
Yeah.
probably like just
Exactly.
pass and just like not say a word, or just like wouldn't know ourselves because you're from Warsaw, I'm from Krakow, so it would be like difficult to.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, what are the odds of us meeting, living in two different cities, and even in the same city? And also, it's really hard nowadays to even meet people working at the same company with that work from home spirit.
So it's more difficult right now, I think. At certain age it's more difficult to meet people
Hmm.
with like similar interest or similar hobbies or similar kind of attitude, because we're busy, Eva. Yeah. How much
Yeah,
time we spend in
not
actually
much.
online. Yeah. So,
Online. Hmm.
yeah, online, but also like on our personal, for example, hobbies. Yeah. Yeah. So social media. So, connecting that with social media, Eva, for our listeners who want to like learn more or reach out to you, where they can find you.
Okay, so I encourage you to check my LinkedIn. Just send me an invite or connect with me, basically, and the place where you can see me on daily basis more, or to see how software developer life looks like is Instagram. My professional profile that will be shared probably somewhere in the links down below, but correct me
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll post links. Yeah, no worries.
And maybe in the future this YouTube channel. I mean, I have one. There's just one Barbie Barbie trailer I made during summer, but maybe in the future there will be something else. We'll see.
Okay, Eva, thank you for this conversation. It was lovely to have you on the podcast. I think we covered so many topics that coming up with the title will be really difficult this time, but I think we will I will find a way. And yeah, it was lovely to have you here and to converse on the challenges and also the bright side of the tech world and opportunities that we can have by joining the technology, the development area. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for the invitation, and it was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.